Hi, welcome to AXYZ Design. We are the developers of Anima, the fastest standalone crowd simulation software in the ARCVIZ industry, and Metropoly, our line of ready-post and rigged 3D characters that add life to your renders. Welcome to the new Metropoly Tutorial Series, in which we'll demonstrate all the benefits of using AXYZ characters in your visualizations. The goal of the first few episodes is to demonstrate the basic principles of using them and show you how they can benefit your workflow. Once we are done with the basics, we will go into more detailed workflow analysis in the future episodes, so stay tuned. And now, let's start with chapter number 1, Angles. So, let me introduce you to our friend Lisa, who will be helping us out in the first few chapters. She was kind enough to invite us to her home, which is pretty convenient for the principles that we want to show you. Let's start by saying a few words about positioning a character in your visualizations. A typical way to add people to renders is to place them with Photoshop in the final steps of the image making process. This requires a photo of a person which accurately matches the perspective of the rendered environment. The problem is, if you want to move the camera or rotate a character to a different orientation, you'd need a better picture of that person, which is very often not possible. But Lisa is different. She's a 3D model, as physically present in the scene as the sofa, the chairs, or the lamp, and we can rotate her as much as we want. Let me just quickly show you how she looks if we rotate her around a bit. As you can see, we can take a shot of her from every side. And of course, she will also blend perfectly with the environment regardless of the camera rotation, whether we render her from the right or the left side, or absolutely any angle in between. The perspective is always a perfect match and seamless integration into the scene is guaranteed. One of the strengths of using these characters is the ability to create a view that is less conventional, deviating from the usual eye-level point of view. For example, we can place the camera a bit higher and the character will still fit into the environment perfectly. We can lift it even higher, or we can go completely into a bird's eye view. By using them in this way, you could, for example, easily use them in a 3D floor plan of your project. We now also have the possibility of looking at our character from some more unconventional views. Let's say we are working on a museum for ants, and we want to show the client how the scene will look like from their perspective. It's very easy to achieve such a view by lowering our eye level. And keep in mind, it also works if we force the verticals to be parallel in our scene, like in this image. Another cool thing about using 3D characters in our images is that they are not sensitive to changes in the camera's focal length. If we take a look at this picture, we can see that we really exaggerated with an extreme wide angle. In this image, we are back in normal position. And in this one, we are exaggerating in the other direction with a telephoto lens to flatten the space. And even more so in this image. One of the best things about using 3D characters is that all of the principles mentioned so far also apply if we use multiple characters. So let's just clone Lisa twice and see how they look like from various angles. One more thing we can see now that we have 3 Lisas is the ability to create some impressive depth of field effects. We can do this directly in our renderer's camera setting, as opposed to laboriously creating the effect in post-production. Since Lisa is a physical object placed in our scene, the camera will treat her as such. For example, with a large aperture lens and the focal point on the middle Lisa, the character nearest the camera is out of focus. And if we shift the focal point to the Lisa in the front, the background and the 2 other Lisas are the ones that are out of focus now. And finally, the focal point is on the Lisa in the back. This is a really simple way to get accurate depth of field effects straight out of the render engine. Now that we've got that covered, let's clone Lisa a few more times until there are enough of her for a disco party. And also enough Lisas to showcase how a crowd of 3D characters looks nicely blended in an environment without placing any people in post-production. Let's not forget, the disco party Lisas will blend perfectly with the environment from all the angles. So, the Lisa clones party really hard, and occasionally some of them have to go to the rooftop to get some fresh air. They get there by using the stairs, which is pretty convenient for us because this is a nice image to showcase what happens to a scene when people are placed on different levels. Also, take a look at the highest Lisa, who is partially hidden behind the stairs. It's a great time saver having her rendered with all those obstacles in front of her instead of masking them out manually in Photoshop. So, as we get higher, we realize that Lisa's staircase is pretty odd. She lives in a strange house. It appears that there is no gravity in it, as the stairs just get pretty crazy. But it's okay that her house doesn't make much sense because this is a way we can see the benefits of using a 3D character in our image, regardless of the angle our camera is looking at. Okay, to conclude our first chapter, I would like to mention one more way of using the 3D characters, which I think is pretty relevant at the moment. There is a lot of talk lately about virtual reality, and I would like to show you a way of using our characters for such cases. A lot of render engines on the market have the possibility to output your visualization as a spherical image. So let's take Lisa's living room, for example. Here you can see our initial scene, and in this shot, we have rendered our scene with a spherical camera. As you can see, the Lisas on the stairs above us are pretty distorted in this view. Imagine you would have to place them in the render manually in post-production. It would be a nightmare. But pay attention, as this is what happens when we take our spherical image and put it through an application that can convert it into a 360 panorama shot. It's pretty cool. You can use this kind of images to create panoramas of your projects, create virtual 360 tours, or use them for VR storytelling. And the best thing about it is that now you can have 3D characters placed in them. A lot of 3D characters. So that's all for the first chapter of our Metropoly Tutorial Series. Please stay tuned for future installments in which we will go deeper in the use of our 3D characters. In the meantime, you are welcome to visit our website where you can find more than 650 characters to use in your visualizations, as well as examples of final renders in the gallery. Thank you for your attention, and goodbye until next time.